Hello friends, it's your buddy Nick here with Game with the Guys. I made this third DLC speculation video to share a new discovery I made about the Ashes of Ariandel announcement that could have massive lore implications. I haven't seen this particular idea discussed anywhere on YouTube, so hopefully we can shed some light on this connection. I'm also going to talk about some other videos that I'm working on, but that can wait until after the DLC talk. Now, everyone tends to agree that Velka and the Painted World are the key focuses of the first DLC, Ashes of Ariandel. In my first, rather unstructured speculation video, I said that the Profaned Flame and Capital would play a big role in the DLCs, as would the Abyss. I feel even more strongly about that statement now than when I first made that prediction. Fire and Darkness are not that dissimilar, both scaled with intelligence and faith after all. In my in-depth run of Dark Souls 3 that I am currently creating, I talk about the themes of light and dark and their connections. This is a big theme in the game, and I feel like this will continue on into the DLCs. Humans of this world are tightly connected with both fire and the darkness. Born of the Dark Soul, and once undead, they are drawn to the flame. The Profane Flame, aka the Fire of Sin, seems to have a similar spreading/tainting effect that the Abyss has. The Profane Capital, Irithyll Dungeon, and Irithyll itself all show signs of the Profane Flame's influence. This is in much the same way that the Abyss has marked Cathedral of the Deep, Farron Keep, and Lord Wolnir. But this idea of the Abyss and fire having a parasitic effect on their surroundings is nothing new. In Dark Souls 1, Ulasil was taken over by the Abyss in much the same way that the Chaos Flame and Bed of Chaos overrode Izalith. Getting back to the Ashes of Ariandel in particular, I've seen other speculation videos, and other people have also noticed some of the similarities between the locales in the DLC and stuff that we see in Irithyll and the dungeon in the Profane Capital. Another little tidbit that I just had to sneak in is that the Xanthous Ashes are found in the Irithyll dungeon. These ashes unlock, among other things, the Xanthous set, which we found in the Painted World in Dark Souls 1. Ashes of Ariandel will tell the tale of how the Painted World merged with the lands converging around Lothric and shaped the world going forward, most particularly the areas surrounding Irithyll and the Profane Capital. If the Profane Flame is the light, then I also have to balance it out with the dark, aka my latest discovery. In the trailer, we see someone dressed up as Cornyx in his crow garb, hanging out in the Untended Graves. I feel like this area has much more to do with the DLC than we first anticipated. What do we find in the Untended Graves? Corvians, and their weapons strongly point to their connection to the Painted World, as I discussed in my second video. But what else do we find in the Untended Graves? Champion Gundyr. So how is he related? Let's take a look at his soul. Once a champion of Ash, he was greeted by a shrine without fire and a bell that would not toll. Back on August 24th, the official Dark Souls Facebook page posted this picture, which everyone agrees looks just like the path to the Painted World of Ariamis in Dark Souls 1. But did you read the caption for it? It says, "A long and unstable bridge crosses a snowy ravine, bringing a knight towards a bell tower with a missing bell." If a bell is missing, it cannot toll. Gundyr never met his Firekeeper, as we learn from the description of the Estus Ring. Did you ever wonder about this last line of its description? I know I certainly did. I think this might have been the very first DLC teaser. It is likely this very same Firekeeper that left her soul atop the bell tower in Firelink Shrine. Her soul notes that she soothed and accepted the Dark Sigil, which tainted her soul. And where do we get the Dark Sigil? From Yol, a pilgrim of Londor, a land also heavily tied to Velka. That's when I remembered this concept art that came out with the other images for Ashes of Ariandel. This scrawny crow-human hybrid has a long neck, bony arms and legs, and a hunched back, eerily similar proportions to the pilgrims of Londor if you were to take off their rags and shell. It's likely the shell is meant to protect them in the same way that the cleric's large back cover ensures that they would not become seedbeds for the spreading darkness. You know who didn't have a protective cover like this on his back? Udex Gundyr. Yuria and her Londor underlings try to influence the player character not to link the fire, but to begin an age of darkness, an age of man. And what better way to ensure that the fire is not linked than to prevent the Bell of Awakening from tolling and not allowing a champion to rise. If there is no champion, the flame cannot be linked and the darkness will take over. In my review for the trailer of Ashes of Ariandel, I passed right over the clips of these boss fights. I'm still not sure exactly how these bosses relate to the DLC, other than we might learn more about Gwyn's descendants and the royal family. While doing research for my Dark Souls 3 in-depth video series, I came across bits of lore that got me interested in creating a family tree for the royal bloodline. I originally intended to incorporate my findings directly into that video series itself, but I fear that my self-imposed October 25th deadline might creep up on me faster than I can release the whole playthrough. I decided to do a standalone lore video for the royal family instead. I've watched some great lore videos covering the royal family before, from great YouTubers like VaatiVidya and the Ashen Hollow, but frankly, I just don't agree with them. My honest interpretation of the lore diverges quite a bit from anything I've seen on the wikis or Reddit. That video is going to drop some lore bombs, and I've got the evidence to back it. Look for that in the coming weeks. You can also check out my in-depth playthrough of Dark Souls 3, where I focus on interpreting lore and offering helpful strategies. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you next time.